Hey, Howell here. What I want to do today um, is talk about Randy Newman and his lyrics, particularly my favourite of his albums, which is Little Criminals. Is Randy Newman a little criminal himself? Well, the answer to that is well, as we go through the talk, that question will be answered. Now, to begin with, he's one of my favourite songwriters. He's a great lyricist, and his kind of use of very dry, subtle humour is quite unique. And my favourite song on this album, perhaps my favourite song of his, is Baltimore. Baltimore, and I particularly like the rhythm in it. You know, the rhythm and the beat in it. I'd learned it on the guitar, and I found it quite difficult to get the rhythm exactly right. There's this kind of rolling. It's deceptively simple. But if we take a look at the lyrics here, we take a look at the lyrics. It goes. Obviously it's about the town. It's about the seaside. Sorry, the port of Baltimore. Now that that many port towns and sometimes seaside tend to have a sort of harshness about them. And the lyrics go, beat up little seagull on a marble stair, trying to find the ocean, looking everywhere. Hard times I won't read them all. Hard times in the city in a hard town by the sea. Ain't nowhere to run to. There ain't nothing here for free. Hooker on the corner, waiting for a train. Drunk lying on the sidewalk, sleeping in the rain. And they hide their faces and they hide their eyes because the city's dying and they don't know why. And then it goes into the chorus, oh, Baltimore. Now, I'm just going to mention on the music is you've got Glenn Fry. It sounds like a Fender Telecaster. Glenn Fry from the Eagles. He sort of punches away with this little Telecaster. And then it bursts into a solo at the end. It's a really great solo. It's got a bit of echo or repeat on it. Now, what happened, obviously, with those kind of lyrics, he comes into a lot of criticism. He comes into a lot of criticism from people in Baltimore. And what he did is Randy Newman travelled through Baltimore on a train, and he'd read an article about it. And then that inspired him to write this song, which is about deindustrialization. It's about deindustrialization, but it's also about decadence, decadence and a city kind of falling into decay. And he agreed with his critics that he was harsh on Baltimore, too harsh, as he'd never ever lived there. He'd only been through it on a train. And Randy Newman, what he does, he often takes on a fictitious character, rather like a sort of novelist or an actor. For example, if we have a look here, it goes, get my sister Sandy and my little brother away, buy a big old wagon to haul us away, live out in the country, the mountains high, never come back here till the day I die. Well, Randy Newman does not have a sister called Sandy and a little brother Ray. The characters never lived in Baltimore to want to get out and be hauled all the way. And so if we go to another song of his, we've got Short People, which was a single, and it's the most famous of all Randy Newman's songs. And it starts with short people got no reason to live. They got little hands and little eyes, and they walk around telling great big lies. They got little noses and tiny little teeth. They wear platform shoes on their nasty little feet. Well, I don't want no... It goes on like that. They got baby little legs, and they stand so low, you got to pick them up just to say hello. So it's got that kind of a dark, sort of subtle humour to it. Perhaps not so subtle on this song. But Randy Newman was much more defensive about this song, the controversy surrounding this song, He thought, as he was writing it, that people would understand that he was not being serious. It was obviously written through the eyes of a bigot. And then when we get to the bridge of Short People, it says, where does it go? Short people are just the same as you and I. All men are brothers until the day they die. But that wasn't enough. That wasn't enough. And this is very much, if you, he was writing through the eyes of a bigot. And it was his take on on prejudice against short people. This is to quote Randy Newman: "The guy in the song is not to be believed. It pokes fun at short-tempered and short-minded people, small-minded people." Now, in Maryland, the state delegate Isaiah Dixon attempted legislation to make it illegal to play that particular song on the radio. But there was a Maryland attorney, Bill Birch, who said that would be a violation of the First Amendment. So the First Amendment obviously is freedom of speech. If we look at the lyrics of a couple of other songs, you can see how Randy Newman characterizes it, puts himself into another character. So we've got Sigmund Freud's impersonation of Albert Einstein in America. "The world of science is my game, and Albert Einstein is my name. I was born in Germany and happy to be here in the land of the brave and the free. In the year of 1905, I don't know what that means, merely trying to survive, took my knapsack in my hand and caught a train for Switzerland." So he goes to Switzerland, and then in 1905, that's where he pens Special Relativity. But the land of the brave and the free, that's him eventually ending up in America, isn't it? And then what else have we got? We've got Little Criminals. This is what I'm saying. That's through the eyes of Einstein, Albert Einstein. And Little Criminals, what you gonna come back here for? Thought you were with your uptown friends. Don't need none of your junky business. You're gonna screw us up again. So he's obviously there as a character, as a downtown guy, objecting to these uptown boys coming down and taking over. That's a class thing. And then Riders in the Rain is like a Western. I love Riders in the Rain. So there's a version of it with Linda Ronstadt and Ry Cooder. You can find it on YouTube. It's brilliant. With Randy Newman, obviously. But like, got a gun in my holster, got a horse between my knees, and I'm going to Arizona. Pardon me, boys, if you please. I have been a desperado. Blah 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 blah. That's obviously through the eyes of a cowboy in a kind of Western scene. And so that people in the arts are often not understood. It's like, for example, with Salman Rushdie, the medium of magical realism was just never understood in his writing, or much of his writing. And it goes on, and with Randy Newman, he's not just a singer and a songwriter and a pianist. He characterizes, he becomes the character that he's trying to express, often in a kind of first person way. And all sorts of controversy surrounds him about it. Now, there was on television, I saw a group of small people, short people. They gathered together for this event, and they had a picture of Randy Newman on the wall, and they were playing "Sharp People Got Nobody." I mean, it's like, the humor of it, short people got nobody, short people got nobody to love. And they were like pelting this picture with rotten whatever. And it was quite an amusing scene, But it's not Randy Newman singing it. It's not Randy Newman there. It's through the eyes of a bigot. And that is my talk on Randy Newman, the lyrics of Randy Newman on his album 1977, Little Criminals. And thank you very much for joining me.